says we're live. Yep, we're live. So, Rich, we're live. Welcome to those listening in podcast land. No, it's Facebook Live. The website is Facebook. The parent company is now Meta. No, so the same way that Google is owned by Alphabet, the Alphabet company, or Alphabet, whatever. So that's how it works. Google didn't change its name. Google stayed Google, but Alphabet is now the parent company. So they could delete the old adage that they had, "Don't be evil." Facebook is doing it to distract us for something else that's terrible, and I don't remember which one it was. So anyway, they're going great. I got my big mug o' mead. Yummy mead. Facebook has completely changed the way that things look on here, so that's a little weird. Yeah. Nice. How it, it what is that? I mean, I like pancakes. I like Mexican food. Can you get both? That sounds delicious. I will have. Do they have lengua tacos? Okay. I'll have carnitas, tacos, and for dessert, I will have a churro pancake. Or an order of churro pancakes. I'm fat. I'll eat it all. Nice. Nice. Well, we're in the midst of the World Series and everything baseball we'll be talking about today. Also, I'm actually going to give you something that is in our quick hits. We'll call it. I'll call it the quick hits. But the biggest thing we're going to talk about is information that makes Rich and I take our beloved hockey team to task. It's time to roll the intro. Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa. This is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich. Okay, and we're back. Welcome to those watching us live, because we have somebody watching. If you comment or like, you'll get a shout out. So, Rich, big week of sports to talk about, lots to talk about. But first, the all important question we all need to know the answer to: chili or gumbo at your tailgate. Rich, what were your thoughts? What did you vote for? And I'll let you know how the people voted. Yeah. A good gumbo, a good gumbo, a good gumbo. I mean, I don't know. I'm always up for gumbo. I love gumbo. But guess what? I also voted for chili because chili won 10-0 with 100% of the votes. Boom, confetti. Nobody voted for gumbo, Rich. Yeah. Time out. We gotta shout out, and because he's currently watching, I'm gonna tell him to do something real quick. Solomon Stroop is watching the live stream. Says he loves you guys. Solomon, you have my permission to turn us off, but you could just add a tab at the top of your screen. Add a tab. Go to Yahoo and pick this week's Pick'em Challenge. I know you know how to get into your Yahoo because you're doing stuff on fantasy. Right under the fantasy football stuff, you can do your tournament pick or your pro pick'em, so you can actually have games picked for this week. So you have a possibility of getting points. You're probably not going to win the overall one, but you can at least, do at least maybe get a weekly shout out. We'll get to that in a second. But Solomon Stroop, everybody, Solomon Stroop's watching. So thanks for joining us. We got another. He said he's failing at fantasy. We'll talk about that in a little bit. We'll give you some updates on that. But your fantasy NASCAR is doing great, which we're going to talk about in just a second too. Okay, Rich, back to the show and the important stuff. Chicken wings versus meatballs versus corn dogs. Is this kind of a deep fried, or what? How did you come up with this one? Things. Yeah, well, I mean, two of them work really well together because they're things that you use. You get those mini corn dogs and you use toothpicks to stab them and eat them, and the meatballs too. But the chicken wings, unless you got the boneless chicken nuggets, chicken nugs. Unless you got the chicken nugs, chicken wings are hard to eat if you put them on a stick. Okay, let's head over to baseball, where we have World Series talk to go through. Rich obviously last week took the asterisks. We can't call him. I will refuse to call him anything but that until the asterisks. Yeah, let's go Braves. Yeah. Let's go Braves. I hope they win it at home. I mean, that means they have to win the next 3 games. And I hope they do that, because if they do that, that means that the commissioner has to give the trophy away in a place where he's definitely getting booed. 100% going to get booed for taking away the All-Star game. Crazy. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And they're going to boo him. I'd boo him. But you mean the crazy, awesome, like, he deserves an MVP award for catching a 102 miles an hour fastball to the shin that fractures his fibia, fractures his fibia. He continues to pitch. He runs around in that play. You can see him running in that play. And then he gets an out to finish that inning and comes back and pitches against Altuve and strikes him out. He did, yeah. Yeah. Right. And he can't. No, he came out the next inning. he did come out. Altuve was in the next inning because when he came out in the next inning, they took him out immediately after the strikeout because he landed in a funny way, and that's what told the staff. And he said, okay, you can't hear Rich. Okay, well, I'm sure. Let me check. Keep talking, Rich.
He pitched and got out of that inning on a broken leg.
Yeah. Yeah, that was kind of amazing. Yeah, I guarantee they can hear you now.
Okay, cool.
So, just for those who couldn't tell, Rich voted for Chili because he doesn't know he has to be in the right mood for gumbo. Rich took the Asterix, which he calls the Astros, because over whoever won the National League. I took the Braves because I like the Braves, and that's who Rich left me with. This is for our lunch bet that we make every year. We currently, I'm hoping for the Astros to, or for the Braves to win at home, so that the commissioner has to give the trophy to the team that he took the All-Star game away from. So, okay,
Yeah.
you're all caught up.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's an interesting matchup between the Astros kind of on their revenge tour or redemption tour.
Yeah.
For getting
Cheaters.
Yeah, for cheating to win the last.
Hence why
World
they
Series.
deserve to be called the Asterix.
Okay, and then you got the Braves who got the All-Star game taken away from them, and now they're kind of in the media again negatively for the tomahawk chop. Does that, and the commissioner kind of sidestepped that, saying that whether that needs to be addressed and stopped during game as a like a regular occurrence or a chant at the stadium, by saying that he'll leave that up to the team to make that decision. He's not going to get in the middle of it, and or trying to sidestep it, saying that if the local Native American community approves of it or has no problem with it, then it can continue.
Yeah.
But it seems like more Native American groups are speaking up about it and saying that that's kind of offensive. You shouldn't. That's not right. But their voices aren't being heard over the vast majority. So
Yeah. So, off of the World Series, we have a couple other big stories that we need to talk about. Everybody's favorite animal rights group, PETA, has come out and said we need to change an injustice in this world. It is a shame for us to do this, and we need to make it right. We can no longer call it the bullpen.
I almost thought that it was a fake news story when I first saw it, but then I clicked.
Are you saying that wasn't? 100% when I first heard it, I agree, and I know you are correct, but I thought, I 100% thought it was from like the Babbling Bee or the Onion coming out with this, thinking, no, that's what it has to be. Oh my goodness. But now this is one thing I will say. They did come up with a totally amazing name to change it to.
So you like their proposed name change?
You know what? Out of all of the things that I like, I agree. I think it's ridiculous that they're trying to change the name. But if they're going to change the name, why wouldn't you use the Arm Barn? How does that not sound awesome? I just sound like Kevin from The Office. Like, seriously, you don't like the Arm Barn?
I don't.
Okay.
I like the bullpen. The call to the arm. Call to the pen or going to the pen. They're going to be going to the pen earlier. What does it do? Do the announcers have to adjust and saying, well, they're going to need to bring in an arm from the barn. They're going to be going to the barn early this game.
Hey, I think it sounds great to me.
It doesn't have the same ring to it. It doesn't have the same ring to it.
I mean,
I think PETA's got.
Here's my question:
PETA's got more problems that they could be addressing by.
Do I need to change the name of my office away from the pig pen? I don't have it named that, but I think now we're gonna call this the pig pen. I mean, it's not that messy, but am I not allowed to do that, or is PETA gonna get after me about that now?
They could.
Probably.
I just think that, when I heard that PETA talking about baseball to change, you would have thought that they would have gone after the baseball, the material that they make the baseball out of.
I don't think do they use rawhide or do they use hide anymore? Or is it a synthetic?
So other things that got brought up when I read one of the articles was, so does that mean we can't call the football the pigskin anymore?
I just came up with a really crazier one.
Okay.
If we can't call it the bullpen, do we have to change the name of everybody's favorite Peanuts character? Pigpen?
That's true.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. PETA thinks we need to change the name of the Peanuts character Pigpen.
All right. Other news in baseball, the Cleveland Guardians or the Indians are getting sued. I guess there was a roller derby team named the Cleveland Guardians.
And they have it copyrighted.
Yeah, they have it copyrighted. They own like the name and image likeness. They own the web page.
Like,
everything.
How are you?
They've had that brand since 2013.
How are you gonna change? How are you gonna put it out there to change your name to something, and not have made sure that you could get the legal rights to it?
Yeah, the story I think that I read about it, I think it might have been covered in the link that I put in our outline. Says I guess they filed for the patent the patent was filed to the U.S. Patent Office from a small little nation in Africa, so that it wouldn't draw media attention and the story wouldn't get leaked. So it got fast-tracked, so it got approved, and then they made the announcement, and then all of a sudden, I guess the Cleveland Guardians roller derby team is now up in arms about it and is suing them 6 months after they've announced the change and came out with logos.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
They deserve it.
They did. I mean, does this not go to show the incompetence that is the front office of the Cleveland, whatever you want to call them, baseball team? Because we're not going to be able to call them the Cleveland Guardians anymore.
Until they settle.
Yeah.
I mean, the roller derby team has nothing to lose here, because either they're going to get the type of settlement that they want, so Cleveland doesn't have to change their name again.
Yep.
Or they're going to get a settlement that's going to be less than what they're wanting to accept, but it's probably going to make up and make them a profitable team.
Oh, 100%.
There isn't much money in the roller derby game.
Nope.
So I'm sure anything that they get out of a settlement, even if they have to eventually drop the suit and settle, because Major League Baseball and I'm sure the Cleveland ownership group have a lot more money than they do to fight this in court.
Oh yeah.
Or hold it up in court so that they can continue on and keep the Guardians name, and eventually the roller derby team's probably going to have to settle.
Yeah.
And give up those resources, but they're going to be paid handsomely for doing it.
Yep. Other news we have some hirings for managers. Oliver Marmo has been hired as the Cardinals' new manager. Rich, what do you think? Good fit?
I think it's a good fit. It fits what the Cardinals normally do in hiring from within.
Yep.
I still don't think Mike Schultz should have been fired. It almost seems like they hired Marmo so that they wouldn't lose him to another team, because I guess they really believe in the guy and they didn't want to lose him to another team. So maybe he wasn't under the radar, kind of like hot.
So you're saying
name as the next new guy to maybe get hired.
So you think the firing was due to the fact that Marmo was going to get taken away and the Cardinals didn't want to sleep on him?
I think so.
Okay.
He's only 35 years old. He's going to be the major's youngest manager.
I'm done with this youngest manager.
Okay.
I think if you're good with yes, it's a big deal. Especially in Major League Baseball where age like Major League Baseball is known like you have to put in years in the minor leagues just to get in the majors. So it's one of the older sports in general to be a rookie. Yeah, you can start at 18 in the minors where nobody else basically can. But you have you still have to put years of service in before you ever get to the big leagues. Same way with managers. They don't care if you are the greatest thing since sliced bread when it comes to managing. You have to put years in to get there. I think it's the dumbest thing for us to think, oh, well, this guy is so young. Is he good at his job? Like, this is one of the things I've had a problem with for the last few years with all these major league talking about how great what's his face Rams head coach.
Right?
Yeah, Sean McVay is. Like talking about how young he was when he got the job and blah blah blah. Was he good at what he was he doing a good job at what he was doing when he got the job?
Yeah.
Obviously, yes. Did he deserve the job? Yes. And deserving a job doesn't mean you have years trugging through the terribleness. It's whether or not they think you can do the job. That's all I think it is. So.
All right. I just don't think with the way Schilt handled the Cardinals and the success that he had record-wise, that he deserved to lose his job. And
yes, but
and that's all. I don't think Marmo could be the guy that maybe moves them forward and allows them to maybe get out of the wild card game or get out of the first round of the playoffs.
But I mean, did Joe Madden deserve to get released, to not get re-signed? I suppose.
I wouldn't have been upset if they chose to bring him back.
I think they should have. I think that his numbers showed that there was no reason to let him go. But
all right, so the other position filled over in between the World Series, in between games in the World Series, was Bob Melvin.
Yeah,
he's going to move over and go from Oakland, and he signed a new 3-year deal with the Padres. So
which means
Oakland let him out of his contract. So yep. Oakland has an opening now.
Yeah.
The Oakland let him pursue an interview for the position because they had picked up a mutual option on his contract, but from what I read, it seemed like he wasn't happy that his option got picked up.
Yep.
And he no longer wanted to be in Oakland anymore.
That's kind of what I had seen too. So, yeah, that's all we have for baseball. Rich, do you see what's coming up next?
Is it a left turn, Mike?
Yes, it is. And after that is another left turn because we're heading into the NASCAR Corner, presented by III Sports Cards Incorporated, Moline, Illinois, or online at their eBay store. Check them out for all your sports memorabilia needs. That's III Sports Cards Incorporated. First up, the Fantasy Shoutout. Solomon, it's your time to shine. How'd you do last week? Let's look at the tape. So, last week's winner in Kansas, Dupo24, come on down. You are the one that won. Last week's winning by almost 60 points over you, Rich. Solomon comes in first. Rich, you come in second. I come in third. Tony, the Funk House, you're coming in last, but that's all right. You still have a decent lead in against me overall. As overall standings has Rich, you're in first by just under 100, almost just under 200 or 170 points. You're sitting at above Solomon. Solomon is making a charge though. He is doing really like. If he continues to do what he's been doing, next week could be a nail biter for you overall. Solomon's in second with 6,035. Tony, the Funk House, is at 5,708. And I'm bringing up the rear overall at 5,338. But in the playoffs, Solomon has a commanding lead with 1,666 points so far. Solomon, you are scoring the Devil's score plus 1,000. Rich, that is 200 points higher than you.
Yeah, I think Solomon's going to get the playoffs.
He has scored as much more than you are as you are ahead of him in the playoffs, and he could make that even better. Actually, no, that's above me. I'm actually above you for the playoffs, and then you are below me, and then Tony's in last. So,
all right, on the NASCAR playoff standings, Martin Truex Jr., my pick to win it all, is currently in 6th, putting him below the cutoff line. And as we said 2 weeks ago, Kevin Harvick, your pick, Mike, was eliminated after the last cut. So Kansas, the Hollywood Casino 400, your race winner, Kyle Larson.
Are we on repeat?
We might be.
Okay.
He's doing really good this year. Mike, your pick of Chase Elliott came in second. My playoff driver pick of Martin Truex still finished in the top 10, finishing 7th. On the non-playoff side...
However, he finished last out of the 4 people we picked.
Yes, he did. On the non-playoff side, my pick of Kevin Harvick came in 3rd. Your pick of Kurt Busch came in 4th. So we split the points.
Yeah.
So for the playoffs, I've got a 10-7 lead. And Mike, you're also down 3 for the overall season, as it's 25-22. However, Mike, your 2 drivers combined finished better than mine. So I'm going to give you the pick for your playoff driver and non-playoff driver for Martinsville for the Xfinity 500.
So I am going to pick Denny Hamlin to win the race as my playoff driver. Who you got for your playoff driver?
Only because I need him to get into the championship 4. I'm going to go with Martin Truex Jr. again.
And Solomon, you feel free to play along at home. If you want to pick somebody as your winner for the Xfinity 500 at Martinsville, go ahead and put it in the comments. Anybody watching us live is allowed to do that. So don't forget, you get a playoff driver and a non-playoff driver. Rich, your non-playoff driver, who you got?
I want you to give yours first.
Okay.
I have a comment about that.
I'm picking William Byron.
And that is a good choice. I was really hoping you'd pick somebody else. So I'll take Truex's teammate in Joe Gibbs Racing, Christopher Bell, instead. Overall, I like the Denny Hamlin pick as well. He's done really well at Martinsville, and he also needs to chase some stage points.
Yep.
To make sure he stays above that cut line. So you know he's going to want to he's going to want to run in the front of the pack rather than stay back and try to avoid the big one, the wrecks at the short track.
So Solomon Stroop has his picks in, made it in the nick of time. He is picking Kyle Busch as his playoff driver. Boo. By the way, Solomon, you do understand that anytime somebody picks Kyle Busch in these picks, he ends up wrecking, just so you know. Maybe that's why you picked him. He watches the show enough. And then his non-playoff driver, Alex Bowman.
All right. I do like the Kyle Busch pick.
Doesn't he have to win to stay in?
No, I think he is 1 point above the cut line.
So
he's 1 point above the cut line, so you know Kyle Busch is going to be chasing the stage.
Oh, yeah. So he'll chase it to wreck himself.
I don't want to see Kyle Busch in the playoffs. Advance. That's why he'll be in my fantasy lineup, but I don't want him to win the entire thing.
Yeah, that's a good call there. Okay, let's head out of the NASCAR corner presented by Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated and head on to the gridiron. This week's Pick'em shoutouts. We know who won't be on there. Hasn't picked a single game all year. Solomon Stroop, dead last. Rich, let me get to the weekly performance, because and once again you beat me by 1 point, extending your lead to 73 picks over my 71. But again, for the second week in a row, I have 1 pick on you because of Thursday night football.
You do. So we'll get to that. Recap of week 7. The Bears went down to Tampa and lost really bad. 38-3.
Yeah. In a very embarrassing way. Like it's like if Moline High School went out there and played. Not Rocky. Rocky's a good team. They probably would have done better. They probably would have scored at least 6 points.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't watch the game. I didn't watch the game. I chose to watch the NASCAR race.
Yeah, I don't blame you. That was rough. We had people come over for dinner that night, and I made steaks on the grill, and it was really delicious. By the way, can't wait to when you guys are coming up next weekend.
Yeah, so far, yes, we are still planning on coming up next week.
As of Thursday, remind me if you're coming up. If
sure
you're
will.
Okay, and you're coming up Friday night, or are you coming up Saturday morning?
We'd be leaving here, but we probably wouldn't get up there in time for dinner.
On Friday?
Yeah, on Friday we wouldn't be there.
That's fine.
Time.
But I could remind me on Thursday that you're confirmed coming. That way I can put steaks on. I can make sure the steaks are thawing out, so we can have steaks. We're having steaks next Saturday.
Okay. So anywho, that makes the Bears 3-4. Mike, I'm 6-1 picking the Bears. You're 5-2.
Yeah.
Mike, how'd our locks of the week go?
So this week's lock of the week. Last week, Rich, you picked the Packers. Did you pick the Packers over the Washington football team? As you did.
I did.
And sure enough, they won. So good job on that. And I picked the Arizona Cardinals over the Texans. The first time in the NFL season that an NFL regular season game has ended in a score of 31-5 in favor of the Cardinals. That score is not not just because the point differential isn't more, but that score is a better score than the Bears losing to because at least your defense was able to get a safety.
Mm-hmm. It's those little fun facts that I really like. First time that an NFL game has ever ended in that score.
Yeah.
So Mike, you're 6-1 on your locks. I am 7-0.
Okay.
All right, the upset specials. Mike, yours didn't come through as the Atlanta Falcons beat the Miami Dolphins 30-28 on a last-minute game-winning field goal.
I was upset when I saw them take the lead. I was upset because I knew that they gave them too much time.
Mm-hmm. All right, and my upset of the Bengals going into Baltimore and getting a win came through as the Bengals. They won 41-17.
Yeah, I think that was a great pick, and I actually think I had the Bengals as my pick for last week. I had them winning, I think.
Yeah, I did not think that was going to be that big of a point differential in that game.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be a close game. So I'm 4-3, you're 3-4. Mike, how did Thursday night football go?
Well, unfortunately, and fortunately, all at the same time, because I picked the Packers, they still won. Beating the Packers beating the Cardinals 24-21 on a 14 seconds left in the game interception where AJ Green had no clue what was going on in the game.
Yeah, he looked like he was blocking for some reason.
Yeah.
He didn't turn around. He didn't.
100% had no clue what was going on in the game. In fact, I would almost argue that he deserved to get a offensive pass interference on that play.
Yeah.
It would have been declined.
Oh, yeah.
And in fact, I think it would have been better if he would have done a better job pass interference, because then he might have, prevented the interception. They would have had a shot to at least tie it. Even if they get the 10-yard penalty, you're at the 12-yard line, kicking from the 22. I'd take those odds.
You take your chances in overtime.
100%. I'd take those odds.
But yeah, what about the Cardinals' defense standing up the Packers to get the ball back?
So
that allowed Kyler Murray to drive down the field and almost win the game.
And James Conner. Well, so we got to talk about all of the last minute of that game. We got to talk about all of it. I guess it was 4 minutes, wasn't it? That drive was a 4-minute drive.
Yeah, but so you had a touchdown overturned,
which I think the call on the field was wrong. So I think the overturn was the right call. From the video evidence that I saw, though, I never saw anything that made me think there was enough video evidence to overturn it. So I think the call on the field was incorrect, but I did not think there was enough video evidence to overturn it. You, Rich, how do you feel about that?
Well, because I didn't want to see Aaron Jones score a touchdown because he was playing against me in fantasy.
Who had that guy, by the way?
Oh, I think Solomon did.
Oh, Solomon. Ooh.
So, but seeing the replays, I think that I saw enough that his butt hit the ground. That would mean he was down before he could fall back and get the ball over the goal line.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they called a touchdown. I don't think that I agree with you. The call on the field was wrong, but I don't know if there was enough evidence or an angle to see if the ball was over the goal line when his butt hit the ground.
So on top of all of that, then James Conner, like a champ, gets met in the end zone, like 3 yards deep.
Time out now.
Okay.
You also had the Rams, the Packers getting hit with a delay of game penalty.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because they didn't have any timeouts and
yep.
The guys couldn't get set.
Yep.
So Aaron Rodgers is stuck with a 4. So instead of a touchdown, they get hit with a delay of game penalty, backing them up 5 yards, was it? Or 10 yards?
It was 5 yards. So it put it on the 6 yard line.
And Aaron Rodgers has nobody to throw to, so he takes off running, and the Cardinals defense stops him at the 1 yard line to deny him, and that's how they got the turnover. And
everybody is thinking, come on now. They're going to get the way that the Packers defense was playing, I thought they were going to get a safety out of that. I 100%
out of your James Conner run, correct?
Right. Well, in general, I thought you're backed up that far. The defense is playing really well. They're going to get a safety out of this. And then James Conner comes running, and he gets met 3 yards back and powers his way to make sure he doesn't get a safety and gets out of the end zone. Barely gets to the 1 yard line. Kyler Murray through some short passes to get out of the end zone, and then some great deep passes gets them into the red zone. By the way, before last night's game, 15 for 15 people have scored once they've gotten into the red zone against the Green Bay Packers defense. 15 for 15. Nobody has got, up until Thursday night's game, nobody had gotten into the red zone without getting into a score or getting into the end zone against the Packers defense. And the Packers held 3 different times going into this last drive, kept them from getting a touchdown.
And what happened on that last drive, Mike?
Oh, my goodness. So they get down to the 1 yard line and get the play called. Kyler Murray, there's 20 seconds left in the game. Kyler Murray drops back, scans the field, throws it over to A.J. Green, who has no clue the ball is coming to him. Interception. to a gentleman who 2 weeks ago, Rich, do you know who he played for?
No, I don't.
The Arizona practice squad. Legit, he played for the Arizona practice squad up until like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Wow.
I don't even remember the guy's name. Makes an interception. 14 seconds left. No time. Nobody has timeouts. It's over. Green Bay kneels the ball. They win the game.
What a way. I mean, Aaron Rodgers on the sideline was
Ecstatic.
but even
He
as
was-
the Cardinals were going further and further down the field.
He was dejected. And he was getting ready for at minimum he had to get ready for overtime, right? Because what's the worst that's going to happen? They're at the they're at the 1 yard line. The worst thing that's going to happen to them is they're going to force you to go into overtime.
Yeah, I mean, would that play have been different if the previous play Kyler Murray wasn't maybe limping to where he could have scrambled or ran in for the game-winning touchdown instead of having to throw it?
I think it might have. The scary thing about oh man. So did you watch the game? How much of the game did you get to watch?
I watched at least halftime on.
So the second to last drive for the Green Bay Packers, not the one that they failed to score the touchdown, but the one before that, the running the ball out of the end zone, the play that happened there, cleanest play in that situation I've seen in a long time. And we have one guy gets knocked himself straight out, and the other guy can't get up because his leg hurts. Did you get to see that?
Yeah, I did see that.
The NFL has done so much to make this play. This is the most dangerous play. I mean, the kickoff return is the most dangerous play in, I would say, all of sports outside of NASCAR. NASCAR has done its best to make itself as safe as they can, but you're still driving a car 200 miles an hour around a track, an inch from the guy next to you. That is never, you can't make that as safe as you can most any other sport. But this play is the second most dangerous play in NASCAR, or in all of sports. And when that happens, we watch two guys that I was as scared at that play as I was when I saw Ryan Newman flip and end up behind a tent because they couldn't let us know how he was doing until the next day. I don't know how you felt about it. I'm not a fan of either of these two teams, but man, that was a scary play.
All right. So, Mike, that was week 7.
Yep.
Week number 8. Let's get it
Technically,
started.
we're talking about week number 8 because the Packers Cardinals was
Right.
week 8.
For our
Yes.
show purposes, previewing week number 8. So, the 49ers will be going into Chicago to take on the Bears.
Yeah, the 49ers are going to go win in Chicago. Is that what you said?
Is that your pick, Mike?
Oh, yeah. 49ers are going to win.
All right. I'm going to go with the Bears only because the 49ers didn't look good in their game. They were struggling to move the ball just as they put up more points, but they were struggling to move the ball. So I'm trying to get the Bears to those 8 wins. So I'm going to pick the Bears.
Yeah. Even if the Bears get more than the 4 wins that I predicted, which, by the way, they're at already.
No, they have 3.
Oh, 3? So if they get one more, they've tied what I've said already. I think they're going to probably beat it. I don't think it's going to be the 49ers, though.
Okay. I'm being optimistic.
Okay. This week's an even week. So, Rich, you get the lock of the week. Who are you going to take?
I'm going to go with the Bills over the Dolphins.
Ooh, nice pick. That should be a pretty good lock. My lock of the week, I think, is as good of a lock, if not better, because the Dolphins sometimes play better, and that's a divisional game. Something to look out to not do normally, but I think that's still a safe bet. I'm picking the Rams over the Texans.
I like that as well as a lock.
Yeah.
Texans seem like they don't want to win football games.
No, they don't.
And the Rams are a great team anyway.
Yeah.
So, all right, Mike, the upset special, I'm
Yep.
going to give it I'm going to have the Lions getting their first win over the Eagles.
Okay, I like that. I like that. Except it's the Lions. I don't think they're trying to win either. I'm going to go with Steelers over the Browns. And here's why.
Okay.
Mike Tomlin is pissed. You don't have it even on the outline. His press conference Tuesday after what, or was it Monday? It might have been Monday. I think it was Tuesday, though. After what Carson Palmer said on the Dan Patrick Show.
Yeah. He did not like that. He thought that he would be a good fit for the USC job, and he might leave the Steelers.
Yep.
To take the job.
Yep. That's what he said. Mike Tomlin said, F you, no. Never say never, but never. Legitimately, that's a quote. That is a direct quote.
All right. I like the Steelers over the Browns as well. I hate the Steelers.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the Browns, Baker Mayfield's on the mend. He takes a wrong hit. He could be knocked out. And, I mean, Nick Chubb is going to be back. But, he's still recovering from an injury a little bit. So he may not last the entire game. All right, Mike, for some odd reason, somebody at Fox or the NFL scheduling thought it would be a good idea to put the Colts and the Jets on Thursday night.
So, folks, if you have nothing going on Thursday night, don't watch the Jets and the Colts. It's a terrible game. You don't want to watch it. There's no reason to watch it. I think I'm going to watch a rerun of whatever the last game of the World Series was.
Even if the Astros win.
Even if the Astros win.
Okay.
I'll pray that this time when I watch it, the outcome will become different. I don't know.
All right, so you going Jets or the Colts?
The team out of this that I don't think is trying to lose intentionally, the Colts.
The Colts, yeah, I agree. I mean, I think the Colts are a good football team. I just don't know who thought that it would be a good idea to put the Jets on as a primetime Thursday night game.
I think the other problem there is that I think that the Colts are a great football team, but it's man. Folks, we are probably going to go a little bit long today because we still have a huge topic to talk about. But first, we got to get into our power rankings. Rich, this week's power rankings, man, it's hard because after Thursday night's game, I think my power rankings change all of a sudden.
I can agree with that. I would not have the team that I have at number one if we took Thursday night football into our rankings.
Yeah, if we took Thursday night football into our rankings, my number 2 team would definitely be my number 1. But I don't know how they're going to do this week. If they win, fine. I mean, they're playing one of us picked them as our lock of the week.
All right, Mike. So because we want to get into what happened with one of our Chicago teams, let's maybe do this quick fire.
Okay, number 1.
Quick fire.
Arizona.
I have the Cardinals as well. Where does the ELO and the power rankings have as number 1?
Buccaneers for the power rankings, and ELO also the Buccaneers.
Okay, I can agree with that. My number 2 team, I still have the Rams.
I agree. They are number 2 is the Arizona Cardinals according to the ELO. Number 3, they have the Rams. The power rankings has it as the Rams. I have the Green Bay Packers.
I put Tom Brady in the Bucs here.
Okay, number 4 is where I put Tom Brady in the Bucs. Who do you got at 4, Rich?
The Green Bay Packers.
And number 4 for the power rankings goes the Buffalo Bills. Number 5, Rich, the Dallas Cowboys.
That's where I put the Cowboys too.
Okay, number 6, I have the Baltimore Ravens.
I gave this one to the Buffalo Bills.
Okay, which is where I put them at 7. The ELO had at 6 the Green Bay Packers. At 7, the Baltimore Ravens.
All right, my number 7 team is the Tennessee Titans.
Okay. And my number 8 team is the Tennessee Titans.
All right. In my number 8 spot, that's where I put the Baltimore Ravens.
The Los Angeles Chargers for the power rankings. Number 10 and number 9. I'm sorry, number 9, not number 10. I have the Los Angeles Chargers.
I went with the Bengals at number 9.
Ooh. The power rankings seem to think the Tennessee Titans.
All right, and rounding out my top 10, that's where I put the Superchargers.
I put the Las Vegas Raiders. By the way, I have the Cincinnati Bengals at number 11.
All right, that's where I put the Raiders.
Okay, so our
we're not that far off.
Our top 11 is perfect with each other. Let's move down to our bottom 5 real quick.
Real quick, Mike, where did you put the Bears?
Oh yeah, that's right. The Bears, I have it 17 still. Mostly because I think that they lost to a really good team.
I moved them down to 20. I was kind of comparing
I don't blame you on
them. I kind of was comparing them to the other teams that have a similar record, and I felt the other teams that have a similar record were better than them.
Okay.
Were better than they are, so that's why I put them at 20.
And because we are in the North, where do you have the Vikings?
The Vikings, I have them all the way up at 15.
I have them at 18. Okay, bottom 5. Let's start with the bottom. We'll go with 32. At 32, I have the Detroit Lions.
Until they win that first game, they're automatically going to be in number 32 for me.
Okay, number 31.
Jacksonville.
Agreed. Number 30.
This is where I put the Texans.
That's not what you have on here.
I don't?
I have the Texans. You have the... Oh, no, you do have the Texans. I'm sorry. I have the Jets. I have the Jets.
Okay.
You have the
Jets
Texans.
29.
I put the Texans at 29. 28?
The Miami Dolphins.
I have the New York Jets, and my 27 is the Miami Dolphins.
This is where I put the G-Men.
Okay.
Giants.
So, we basically line up on that one as well. 32 Detroit, 31 Houston, 30 Jacksonville, 29 Jets, 28 Giants, and 27 the Eagles, according to the power rankings.
Yep, that's where I put the Eagles as well. Right there at... Oh, no, I put the Eagles at 26.
Okay, so that is our power rankings, folks. We're not going to talk about it too much. It hasn't changed a lot. We're heading in, so we're going into quick hits, but not a quick hit. This is going to be, man...
A lot to unpack here, and not kind of controversial and maybe even a little bit uncomfortable to talk
I don't
about.
even think it's controversial.
Okay.
It's only controversial in how terrible it was handled.
Okay.
And I think, again, this is why we named it what we named it this week. We stand with Kyle in this situation. Let's get into it. Rich, you go ahead first. You want to start off with what precipitated this week, and then we'll get into the actual conversation.
Yeah. So the Blackhawks had revealed their findings of an investigation that they initiated to investigate a sexual assault allegation with a member of the 2010 squad for a player on the 2010 Stanley Cup champion team, and the results of that findings led to the general manager Stan Bowman resigning, and also it led to Joe Quenneville, the coach of that team, stepping down from his position as the head coach of the Florida Panthers.
Yeah. So
But Mike, you read more into the story than I did. So what was uncovered in that investigation that they chose to reveal?
So the Jenner Block report is what this is called. You can find it at Jenner.com. And we'll actually share this in the comments of our Facebook page. So if you want to look at this, at the full report, feel free. So much to talk about. I have not read the whole report. I've read some synopsises, some stuff like that. But in the report, a John Doe alleged inappropriate conduct with an assistant coach, is what they're calling him here. And
I had read that he was the video coordinator, but it was a member of the coaching staff.
Aldrich, who basically had some unwelcome sexual advances. He basically told the player that if he doesn't comply, that the player would basically be, his career would be over. The player apparently complied to, I would call this non-consensual sexual acts with this coach. And on top of it, well, I don't want to. So they allow the team had a meeting, the leadership, and I'll tell you. So the people in the meeting were McDonald, the one of the lead. I don't remember his position.
I believe he was the president. John McDonough was the president.
Bowman, the GM.
Yep.
Mick Isaac, Blanc, Gray, and Shevlovsky, and Quinville. These guys were all in a meeting. At the meeting, all participants, none of them could recall all of the information. Or they all were recalled being informed of the incident. But and some other things. But Bowman recalled McDonald saying, the most senior member of the team at the time, so the president of the team, saying he was going to handle Aldrich. Aldrich then continued to be with the team and travel with the team through the playoffs for 3 weeks. No actions were taken. The incident was not addressed. Aldrich was allowed to celebrate the cup victory with the person that he victimized. And then Aldrich was told, we'll either investigate or you can resign. These are your choices. He said he would resign. No investigation was done. No other disciplinary action happened. So this comes out Tuesday. So, as of, I want to say, as of today, we have found out who this John Doe is. Kyle Beach. Kyle, we support you. What you went through was some of the most terrible things a human being can ever face. Some of. Nobody should have to go through this. No amount of us being sorry, no amount of financial recuperation that they will inevitably end up having to give you is enough for us to feel like you've gotten your just. I hope, I pray that we can still go after Aldrich, and I hope he ends up in jail. Beyond that, any of these people that were in this meeting that knew anything about it, they deserve to go to jail. They covered up for someone who is a monster and is a terrible human being. Kyle Beach had the balls in this situation to stand up and say this isn't right. He A, reported it to those above him, and B, has come out since when his name was not in the public eye. He was allowed to file suit in a way that allowed him to stay anonymous. But he said no and put a face to this situation. Kyle, we stand behind you. And if it means that the Chicago hockey team has to declare bankruptcy because you take every bit of their money, I'm okay with it. I'm not okay with this team for now. We know that it at least went up to the president level. I gotta think that if the president knew about it, he probably had to report this to his higher-ups, the owners. I'm not okay with the ownership group if they knew about this either.
Yeah, I think the only thing that I've seen of the comments from the ownership group was that they have submitted a request to have his name removed from the Stanley Cup.
That's not enough.
Exactly. I totally agree.
That's not enough. This ownership group, you need to sell. I'm sure hockey teams don't have the financial need for somebody to buy it out from under them. By the way,
there would easily be a buyer.
By the way,
chose to put the team up for sale.
The Blackhawks have had like a 20-year sellout record. People, they sell out all the time. I hope something happens where they don't sell out until they sell the team. I love this team. They're my favorite hockey team. I will not support them right now till more changes happen. You've gotten rid of the president. You've gotten rid of the GM. You've gotten rid of a lot of these people. I still can't support you because I guarantee you the ownership group knew more than what they're letting on to. And we can insulate them. They can be insulated all they want. I still don't believe it.
Yeah, I can agree with that too. I mean their way of, we're gonna take care of this. I'll handle this. If the only course of action was that, I almost kind of feel like I get the impression that it was to save everybody from saving this from going public. Why don't you just resign?
Yeah.
Quietly resign. If you do that to help us out, we will not press charges and take this any further than we have to.
Yeah.
At this time, with what knowledge that we have of this.
Not acceptable.
No. I can agree with that. So, I mean, while it happened 11 years ago or sometime during the 2010 season, I think the coaches and the leadership that chose to step down after the findings were released, they fully deserve to lose their jobs over this.
I mean, if Donald Sterling can lose his job over his statements, how is this ownership team going to be allowed to hold their team? He was forced to sell.
That is a good comparison, Mike. Great comparison.
I'm putting it out there. I am calling for this ownership team to sell the team and sell it to somebody who wants it. And I know you want it, but I don't care. Blackhawks sell.
All right. So the Wirtz, the Wirtz family needs to sell the team.
Yes. 100%.
And should a portion of the sale
Yes.
go to Beach
Yes.
as part of the settlement?
Yeah. 100%. Not 100% of the sale. I'm not saying 100%.
Oh, no.
But
of course.
I 100% agree with your statement.
A percentage.
And I think rather a large percentage. No, I'm mortified that a team that I love is going through such a thing, and I hope that the ownership sells. Do the right thing. It's a black eye on an original 6 team. So.
Yeah, not good times for the Blackhawks, but it's good to see that at least the people that were involved and had to release the findings of this investigation did the right thing and stepped down because of it, rather than trying to deflect and say that I knew about it, but I was directed by people higher than me that it was being handled, so that's why I chose to take no action.
Yeah.
At the time and stayed on the job, So a little bit happier note, we did not, let's go ahead and end with the Masked Singer like we have the past couple of weeks. We did not have anybody eliminated, as it was a kind of like a best of episode on Monday.
Yep. It was the best of the series, by the way. We'll give you a quick spoiler alert. If you don't want to know who they think is the number one performer over the 6 seasons that they've had, the number one performance, hang up now. Turn it off. That's okay. We don't hold anything against you. But there's no reveal of who's who and anything like that. We won't even reveal who the new spoiler or the new wild card is. We won't tell you what that is. What we will tell you, okay, now that you've had a spoiler alert about 10 seconds ago, you've had time to turn it off. If you're still listening, you don't care about the Masked Singer, and you're going to get some spoilers. Rich, the top 10, I think their number 1 was correct. With the monster and singing Stay With Me.
I did not. Well, I think it was T-Pain's, who was the monster.
It was T-Pain.
Well, that I know. While I think that was his best performance during his season on the show, I still think that there were better performances.
Oh, I don't know. I think that performance of Stay With Me was... So there were 2 performances of that season, both of which were in the top 10.
There were.
That were, I think, the reason the show became what it is today. And those...
Osmond doing The Greatest Showman.
Opening the show with Greatest Showman in a way that was amazing. Lights out, awesome. And then and that was number 10. And number 1 was T-Pain doing Stay With Me with no auto-tune, folks. In fact,
use auto-tune for any of his numbers.
I know, it was amazing.
Any of his performances.
And in fact,
he did a great job.
The only time he had auto-tune on, by the way, was when he was using his speaking voice. That's kind of how they do that modulation. It's with some auto-tune and some other effects. So
I don't know. I mean, I liked the one thing that I was surprised made it onto their
Yep.
Only because this character didn't go as far in the show as the other people that made the top 10.
Yep.
Was the seahorse singing "My Heart Will Go On," but I also have a personal hatred of that song. So that was the one that I didn't like.
I thought it was all right. I can understand I agree. I don't think it was as good as the other ones, but Danielle was upset that the astronaut was not one of the top 10.
Okay, but the astronaut, did he even make he didn't go very far in the show.
But
one that I was.
Yep.
Go ahead.
I think his performance was better than the seahorse. So.
Yeah, the one that I was surprised didn't make it was the Night Angel, who actually won one of the seasons.
Yeah.
I really liked her performance of Ragdoll.
Yeah. Yeah.
And would have thought that would have been in the top 10. And but I don't know. I mean, I liked the turtle singing "Fix You" and Wayne Brady. Wayne Brady's "Tenderness."
Oh yeah,
a lot better than T-Pain.
Wayne Brady. Speaking of which, I didn't catch it at the time, but Wayne Brady during the rap break in "Tenderness" called himself out.
He did.
100% called himself out.
Yeah, he rattled off who the people have been guessing him as you think I'm so and so, and he dropped his own name.
He 100% did. I don't know if anybody caught it at the time, but man, that's awesome. By the way, listening to it back, I was like, oh, that's 100% Wayne Brady.
Oh, yeah. That's almost how you feel with a lot of them, where it's like, it was that person?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I can see that now.
Yeah. That one, especially when I was listening to it, I was like, no, that's Wayne Brady. That voice is 100% Wayne Brady. I know that voice. I've heard him sing on plenty of other stuff.
Yeah, if you
mostly
watch
Whose Line
enough
Is It Anyway.
Yeah, if you watch enough Whose Line Is It Anyway, he's always has like a musical number where he's improvising something.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, Rich, people are watching us on Facebook, but they want to really just listen to us in their car while they drive an hour and a half to get to Sam's Club. What should they do?
You know, you can find our podcast wherever you find your other podcasts that you listen to. Just search Balls and Sticks, and you'll find me and Mike looking like we're swinging baseball bats and tuxedos.
And folks, if you are listening to us on one of those podcasts and you want to see our pretty faces, you have two options on this. One, you can go to facebook.com/ballsandsticks, and you can actually check us out live. If you like us on the page and you sign up for the notifications, you will find out when we are online. You can join us. You can get shout-outs like Solomon Stroop. By the way, Solomon, it says you're not watching anymore. If you are, go make your picks for fantasy. Or for the pick'em. Make your picks for the pick'em.
Fantasy roster too.
Yeah, check that too. But Rich doesn't want you to, so he wins this week. But make sure you do your fantasy pick'em so we can give you a shout out next week that you actually made some picks. If you make picks, I will shout you out. I don't care. If you make any picks, even if they're wrong, I will shout you out. Try to get one right so that I know that you actually did a pick, though. I don't have to deep dive into it. Anyway, folks, you can also check us out on YouTube. So there's that. Thank you all for joining us. We really do appreciate it. Sorry we went so long today, an hour and 14 minutes, but that topic with the Blackhawks needs to be talked about. This needs to happen. This ownership group needs to sell. That's all. That's how I'm going to end it. Rich, what do we need to do?
It's time to roll the outro.
Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa. This is Balls and Sticks, the podcast with your hosts, Mike and Rich.